Good evening. There's been a massive security breach in Parliament, inside the Lok Sabha. On the 22nd anniversary of the deadliest attack on the temple of Indian democracy, two men sprayed coloured gas in Lok Sabha, jumping down from the visitors' gallery. Two more were detained outside, spraying the same coloured canister. Police say now, apparently there are two more involved in this security breach, and that is our top focus story. India's biggest security breach. New parliament intruded by two men. This was seconds from disaster. What if the two intruders carried a bomb? What if they carried firearms? New parliament, old negligence. Whose head should roll for this? That's our top focus on the news track. Delhi police now say, in all, prima facie, it appears that 6 people were involved in this security breach. 4 have been taken into custody. There are 2 more still to be arrested, 1 yet to be identified. But the question that's being asked, why were the agencies asleep at the wheel? And what if the intruders either had an improvised explosive device, or what if they had poison gas? I'm Gaurav Sawant. We get you much more on this big story. But first, as always, the headlines on India Today. A full security review to be carried out in the new parliament building after today's security breach. Only members of parliament to be allowed entry from the main gate. Glass shield to be put in the visitors' gallery. Six people were part of the parliament breach conspiracy. 5 identified. BJP MP Pratap Simha, who issued the visitors pass, clarifies to the speaker, says the father of one of the accused is from his constituency and had asked for a pass. Politics escalates over parliament security breach. Congress demands a statement from the Union Home Minister Amit Shah. Trinamool Congress calls for BJP MP Pratap Simha's expulsion. Mohan Yadav and Vishnu Deo Sai officially take charge as chief ministers of Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh respectively. Prime Minister Narendra Modi leads the Bharatiya Janata Party's massive show of strength in the Hindi heartland. An 11-year-old girl dies after a long wait in Kerala's Sabrimala temple queue. BJP protests the poor crowd management. Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan claims the situation is under control. It is India's biggest security breach at the temple of democracy. In the country's parliament, there were true intruders who jumped from the visitors' gallery into the well of the house in Lok Sabha and then set off smoke canisters. They jumped from bench to bench till they were overpowered by some members of parliament. But the question remains, how could they walk into parliament, into the visitors' gallery, where you cannot even take a pen with smoke canisters? Tehseen Poonawalla, you just saw what the BJP has put out, saying that the protester Neelam was an Andolan Jeevi seen at several protests, and the opposition will stop at nothing, including defiling the parliament, sir.
Gaurav, at the onset, today is a very important day in our history, so I want to offer my tributes to our brave policemen who were martyred on 13 December. At the same time, a gratitude to Azad ji and Vikram ji. They've served our police force. And I'm happy that no one was injured today. So that is something that we have positive from. I have a lot of respect for you, Gaurav, a lot of respect for you as a journalist. And surely you don't expect me to reply to something said on Twitter. This is a very serious matter. This is perhaps the biggest breach, a terrorist breach in our country in recent times. It is akin to 26/11 happening exactly at that spot on 26/11. It is exactly like 9/11 happening today, 9/11 happening again at the same spot. So we expect a communication from the Honorable Home Minister, not some tweet from the BJP IT cell. Let's be very clear on that. And the Honorable Home Minister has not spoken. Now, Gaurav, let me ask you some questions. And again, I know that you follow security. You're somebody I follow on security issues. Forget who these people are for a minute. Let's keep that aside. How did they get into our parliament? You know, Gaurav, I know, and the experts know. There are 3 layers of security. How did they breach it? The third layer is frisking. How can we get away saying, oh, they're plastic canisters, so they weren't detected? Whose responsibility? Has there been any check done that is this anthrax or not anthrax or any other poisonous gas? Because that takes time to devolve. If it's some biological weapon, we have no clue of it. I heard a Congress MP whose bite went very viral, who caught one of the people jumping. The honorable speaker told him, "No, no, don't wash your hands, so we can see what it is." Shouldn't we have had protocols in place? When we saw visuals of all our MPs, they were
Okay.
sitting, chatting, some catching things. We had no plan on how to escape. Again,
Sangeet
our
Ragi,
media. Gaurav,
major
I'll just
lapses,
take
major lapses. So we keep
no,
this as a
not just
conversation.
lapses,
I
Gaurav.
completely
The
appreciate
way
the point you're raising. Danish Ali also joins us. Sangeet Ragi, major lapses. The opposition says we need a statement from the Home Minister of the country, not something that comes from the BJP IT cell, sir.
I think that it would be ridiculous to say that the Home Minister is responsible for all this. The moment such things happen, you target your gun towards the Prime Minister, and I think that it's a serious lapse on the part of security. Number one, nobody will deny it, but important point is that I'm ever since I have come to know that on other channels also I made this point. This is a left liberal gang, a cynical design. It's a great big conspiracy to defame this government, and they have picked up the date, specifically the 13th December 22 years ago, the parliament was attacked. And this time, just to create, a news,
All the more reason for
sensation
security
throughout the
forces
country.
to have busted them. If it's the left liberal cabal, as you put it, all the more reason to have caught them at the gate and had them arrested. Now, I have two security experts and I'll go to both those security experts.
just
But
one line. I just want one line.
Kunwar Danish Ali, member of parliament, an eyewitness who was there,
just 10
joins me on the
seconds,
broadcast.
just 10 seconds.
Let me just get an
Just
eyewitness perspective on what happened. Kunwar Danish Ali, you raised a very pertinent point. You said no protocols in this parliament, whether for a pass or a password. What are your apprehensions, sir?
See, Gaurav, one thing, this new parliament building was built in a hush-hush manner. No protocols, no security experts or the facilities there for the members or the staff or the media people. There are a lot of I don't want to go into that detail. But what happened today is a serious breach of security. Nobody can deny it. You can, somebody can blame somebody, this is not the issue. Who is responsible for the security of this country? Who is responsible for the security of the elected representatives like parliamentarians? If the Parliament of India is not secured in the hands of the present regime, then what else is secured? That's the basic point. How these people have entered. Whether they have a genuine cause to raise, unemployment, this, that, farmers, that is a different debate. We can debate it at a different time. But today, if that person, Sagar Sharma, whom I caught with security people there and took out his pass, if he would have brought some poisonous gas, I would not have been sitting here and debating with you today.
True.
I don't want to go in that sharing password or giving pass to somebody can lead to the expulsion of a parliamentarian. I don't want that Mr. Pratap Sima should be expelled from the Lok Sabha as Ms. Mahua Mohitra was expelled. No. Sharing a password or sharing a pass, giving a pass.
No, sir, you raise a very pertinent point. You raise a very pertinent point, and let me take this to Yashowardhan Azad.
In place.
Mr. Azad, you were former director of India's Intelligence Bureau, former special director. Tell me this, sir. How could something like this happen in your view when there was specific intelligence alert, there was an intelligence input, and yet this happened? Clearly somebody is sleeping at the wheel, sir.
3 points, Gaurav. First is on this momentous occasion where we commemorate and sort of pay our obeisance to the lives of those security men who died in that attack. There should have been utmost caution. There is no doubt about that. That's number one. Number two, in all these failures, we should be able to pinpoint the exact point where the failure occurred and who's the one responsible. And that is, in Parliament, you have various layers of security.
Yes.
But for individuals and guests who go inside, there are 3 layers. First is, of course, the DFMD, which checks for the metals, door frame. Then you have the handheld metal detectors, which checks your body. And then if you have any doubt, you're physically frisked.
Yes.
The problem occurred, there was a plastic which was embedded in the shoes, and therefore none of the metal detectors checked. And the unprofessional attitude of those people who did not realize is the importance of this occasion. They should have checked the gate, they should have checked the limb, they should have checked everything, and then they would have been able to trace this. Now, what is the fault? The fault is that in the routinized check, we don't have watchers. In the routinized check, I don't know whether that equipment of backscatter technology, which recognizes and identifies these plastic things, are there or not. Therefore, it is a real failure. The question is not whether these people jumped and whether they were of political kind or whatever, because no damage occurred in any case. The question is that if suppose the Prime Minister was present,
Absolutely.
the SPG would have been forced to fire, because in their protocol, if you have a man jumping around and putting smoke bombs, they have and you can imagine the kind of calamity we would have faced. Therefore, it is important to find out where this happened, why it happened, and the last point about the MPs. It is in the rules, Gaurav, that if an MP issues or asks for passes, then he has to say, and Mr. Ali will back me up, that he's my friend or he's my relative or that I know him, and that the responsibility for that behavior is also cast on him. But what is actually happening is that anybody who comes from the constituency says, "Bhai, humko to andar jana hai, sir. हाँ, isko andar bhej do." So that is true.
This chalta hai attitude. You're absolutely right, sir. Dr. Vikram Singh, this, as Mr. Yashowardhan Azad very rightly pointed out, 22nd anniversary of the attack on the Temple of Indian Democracy, the fact that there was a Khalistani terror threat, the fact that people like Gurpatwant Singh Pannu were threatening to target the parliament, and yet it happened. It just goes on to show that we don't take threats seriously, sir.
Gaurav ji, absolutely right. Gurpatwant Singh Pannu, who's eating out of the hands of Americans in New York, gave a threat that he would attack the parliament either on 13th of December or somewhere close by. Such inputs, such pinpointed information and inputs, we did not take them seriously. And what happened was absolutely an unmitigated disaster. I had expected a lot more, as my illustrious colleague, Mr. Yashowardhan Azad ji has mentioned, that yes, we were lullabied into complacency because we thought that this input would be another input which just need to be swept underneath the carpet. But what has happened is not a wake-up call. The act has already been done, and I feel that the attack has been successful. I repeat, the attack is successful. It's a different matter that the IED was not there, grenade was there. To Mr. Yashowardhan's very logical observation that you don't have watchers. Watcher is one person, Danchali Sahab, जो कहते हैं चेहरा पढ़ने की सलाहियत, चेहरा पढ़ लेता है कि आप शातिर दिमाग के हैं या शरीफ ज़ादे हैं. That was totally missing. Otherwise, this was again avoidable. Now, 4 foot soldiers gained entry. Gauravji, a loud question to all the esteemed panelists. But who is the company commander? Who has benefited from this episode? The company commander is yet to be identified. And do a bit of reverse engineering. Go back to the company commander. The foot soldiers will squeal once they are subjected to the lie detector test. The nation needs to know who is the perpetrator. This is one incident which cannot be relegated to politics, and politics has better be kept out of it because it's too serious a matter affecting the nation.
Absolutely. Lives of our members of parliament, our honorable lawmakers cutting across party lines were at stake. Danish Ali ji, I want to understand from you, what is the security that you have seen earlier and now? Is there a difference in the two parliament buildings, and is there lack of security in the new building, sir?
Gaurav, if you remember, the first day when we entered this new building and women's reservation bill was to be introduced, loads of buses with the guests came and they were sitting in the gallery and they were chanting slogans, Modi, 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 Modi. Honorable Prime Minister was sitting there. When somebody pointed out, he himself, when we objected that what's this happening in the new building, it never happens that in the parliament, in the chamber of Lok Sabha, parties slogans and slogan shouting was being done from the galleries. Then Honorable Prime Minister himself asked his cabinet colleague, what is this happening? He was embarrassed basically. So this type of thing was going on in this new parliament.
Sir, but politics apart, on the specific issue of security, do they have less number of metal detectors? Do they have less number of security personnel? Is there adequate screening not happening for guests who come in? Is there no protocol for who will be given a pass? Anybody can come from Amroha and, for example, from your constituency. Anybody can come and say, I'm from Amroha, and he can come and sit in the gallery, sir?
What is happening is this new parliament building has not been built in a manner taking the experts' advice. One from the single gate, one gate, all the MPs has to go, all the visitors, staff, everybody. If you see there, hundreds of people are being gathered daily. At visitors passes for the journalist has been revoked since this COVID period. No senior journalist can enter parliament, even old buildings, central hall passes were revoked. But loads of buses, workers were coming and being shown the parliament. So this, and that had become a routine. Because what has happened today, and incidentally or coincidentally, 22 years ago, the parliament was attacked. But today also, the same day, as the security expert has already said, that they have fulfilled their target. If they have entered the chamber, if it would be having a biological weapon, if it would be having a poisonous gas, I would not have been sitting here and talking to you.
Sangeet Ragi, respond to this point.
What would have taken place?
Sangeet Ragi, respond to this place. If instead of just that harmless colored gas in that canister, had it been some kind of poison gas, had it been forces inimical to the country, we would have lost honorable members of parliament today, sir.
Yes, nobody can deny that this is a serious breach of security, and a serious inquiry needs to be done, and those who are responsible for their hits must roll down. This is first. But at the same time, the timing is very important. The timing, and I don't think that some, free individuals just got the pass and they did the job what they have done today. I think that there is a larger conspiracy, and the larger conspiracy has been hatched by the left liberal gang in this country. They wanted to, number two thing, there can be three possibilities. One, the resounding victory that the BJP has registered, they wanted to marginalize, number one.
RSS
Number two,
MP, BJP
please
MP.
hold on, sir. Hold on, sir. Hold your horses. I'm just trying to finish myself. Secondly,
Pratap
the
Simha
timing
is
is
a member
such,
parliament
the
who wrote book
timing
about
is
Prime
such
Minister Modi.
that they want to create a kind of a
He comes from the
sensation
RSS.
throughout and want to create a kind of a political issue out of it.
Okay.
You just,
Sir, but
I heard
it's more
of
serious than a political issue. It's a national security
comparing it
issue.
to
No,
the
the nation is
Maria
It's a
not
Matra
secured in
to,
your hands.
Okay,
you
When
cannot
Danish Ali, just
BJP
give me
was
a
in
compare the
moment.
power
Modi.
in 2001, that
Okay,
time the
Danish Ali has a
parliament was
question for
attacked.
Sagit Ragi.
Today,
Okay,
why
Danish
don't
Ali,
you
go
know
ahead,
the
sir.
history?
Go ahead, Danish Ali, go
Mahua
ahead.
Mohitra case is entirely different. I think that the
who was there in
politicians
the
do give such
power
kind of a
in
visitor, sign the
2001?
visitor
It
card.
was Mr.
You
Vajpayee's
know,
government.
there is a
Today, who
breach,
is in
when
power?
security breach,
When BJP
nobody is
is in
denying
power,
this part.
even the
But it is
parliament
lapse on part of the
is not
security
secured.
agency. Those who
Okay,
are responsible,
Yashovardhan
they should
Azad
be,
wants to come in
they should be
before I
punished.
come to you, Tehseen. Give me a moment. Let me bring in Mr.
don't
Yashovardhan
try to
Azad quickly.
don't try
Go on,
to
sir.
create the
Mr. Yashovardhan Azad, you wanted to make a point, sir.
Yes, Gaurav, again, I want to get back to that particular point of failure. We should focus on exactly who is responsible and how he's responsible. There is a clear division between the security. The outer layer is by the central police forces, whereas inside the overall in charge is the Parliament duty group. In the Parliament duty group are plainclothes personnel, and they are manning these, door frame metal detectors. So the fault which has occurred, we have to check for many things, and the MP should be really concerned whether they have the backscatter technology or not, whether they are having a mix of the youngsters, whether they're having only deputationists who are old from the Delhi police. There are so many things which need to be looked into. And I think that is why it should be referred to a joint parliamentary committee, so that all of them, because security concerns all. And that is why at this point it is important that it should be referred to the joint parliamentary committee.
Okay, you said there should be a JPC. Should this be investigated in two parts? Tehseen Poonawalla, before I bring in Dr. Vikram Singh. One, the breach at Parliament. Two, the wider plot. Is this a ragtag bunch of Andolan Jeevis as BJP alleges, or is there a bigger sinister plot where there is a orchestrated, targeted plan? And here, a plan that fortunately no lives were lost, but exposed chinks in Parliament's armor. Tehseen.
I again want to begin very humbly by asking you, Gaurav, how do you know nobody's been injured? Chemicals and biological weapons take time to take effect. We had zero protocol. And Gaurav, you know this more than anyone. You've covered live wars. It's not like a biological weapon should explode today. And I'm asking you a very hypothetical question. Instead of the BJP MP, had it been my friend Danish Ali Saab, from whose office the parts would have happened, would then Amit Malviyaji tweet the same thing? Look, it does not matter. None of these issues matter. You have to take it as a very serious terrorist attack. And that's where this investigation must begin from. Maybe the Honorable MP did not know those people personally. That's fine. Who in his office knew? How did the communication happen? Shouldn't we go into every link, every chain, every minute detail, trace it? Was it only a coincidence? Something was happening inside Parliament, something was happening outside Parliament. Gaurav, many debates I do from outside Parliament, sometimes with you. You know the layer of security. What were they doing? And look, these are two experts here. They can look at somebody, they can look at the people's walk, and they know what is happening and what's not happening. That's what these people are trained for. If Vikram sir sees somebody, he will know from the look whether this guy is a thief, he's hiding something. How could you not detect somebody walking with canisters? I'm astounded. Can that even be possible today in Parliament? On the anniversary, when Pannu had said on this particular day, he will attack us?
Or is there something even more sinister, Dr. Vikram Singh, that the canisters were provided later to these individuals? The canisters came somewhere else. We've seen that in 2611, the 10 Pakistani terrorists came with X amount of ammunition, and they had X amount of ammunition that was already stocked up for them, according to police investigations initially.
Gauravji, this is the first time I'm hearing to a distinct possibility that has absolutely likelihood that can happen. And to say that there are horrible fault lines in the security apparatus, I'm in agreement with that. But with this possibility that this could have been planted inside and then taken records to and then used inside the Parliament House to overawe. But to the larger plot, as you mentioned, to communicate on social media right across the country from Haryana right up to Mysore, Maharashtra and Uttar Pradesh, and to get diverse kind of people for a calibrated and a coordinated attack on the Parliament. I would say a successful attack on the Parliament, well, that needs to be investigated, and an experts committee needs to investigate and all the professional agencies need to inquire and investigate both and suggest what needs to be upgraded and how the fault lines can be addressed. That is the solution that we should be looking for. Long-term solutions, short-term solutions, and the security is absolutely non-negotiable. Infallible security, fail-proof and foolproof.
Okay. Mr. Ragi, should there actually be a JPC so that every so the members of parliament from different political parties are all on board? This wasn't an attack on the ruling dispensation or the opposition. It was an attack on the temple of our democracy, on our MPs, sir.
I think that this should have been this should be treated as an attack on on the temple of democracy. But unfortunately, the opposition benches haven't reflected the way they should have reflected. Otherwise, they would not have attributed it to the government. There's nobody is denying the way I was about to finish the one point, that the body language, I have seen because I have spent 35 years of my life in the university circle. So I can tell you the body language of the demonstrator, particularly the girl who was coming out of the, who was snapped by the security forces. The way she was, sloganeering, indulged in the sloganeering. It smacks of that. I have been repeating it again, left liberal gang.
Well, the left liberal gang should have been stopped at the gates. The enemy needs to be stopped and neutralized, be that as it may. I do not know who this individual is or what her background is, but a clear investigation and a transparent investigation is required. To all my guests, many thanks for joining me. The parliament security breach should be a major national security issue, getting all members of parliament, all political parties on the same page. But trust our netas to use even this to score political points. Parties of the opposition in the alliance have called the breach an insider job. The Trinamool Congress has alleged that the BJP should explain whether a BJP leader may have facilitated this attack. Danish Ali raised another point. He said if a member of parliament could be expelled for a password, will a member of parliament be expelled for a pass?
India's new parliament intruded by two men. The country's biggest security breach on the anniversary of the 2001 parliament attack. This issue of national security has predictably been hijacked by political point scoring. The India Alliance party staged a walkout in Rajya Sabha. The Congress is now demanding a statement from Home Minister Amit Shah.
कई दिनों से ये चर्चा में आई कि कोई आतंकवादी संगठन सदन में हमला करेगी और वो भी 13 दिसंबर को। ये जानकारी भी सरकार के पास थे और सबको जानकारी में रही क्योंकि मीडिया वालों ने बार बार ये सारे मुद्दा उठाई थी। फिर भी इस तरीके की चूक क्यों हुई, ये सबका सवाल है।
Congress party workers protested outside the residence of BJP MP Pratap Simha's residence in Mysuru. One of the intruders, Sagar Sharma, was carrying a visitor pass issued by the BJP MP.
वहां वो गए नहीं, उन्होंने बाकायदे बम फेंका, धुआं उड़ाया, पाउडर फेंका, जिससे भी धुआं निकला। तो सबसे बड़ा सवाल तो ये है कि राष्ट्रीय सुरक्षा से जुड़ा हुआ मुद्दा है। वहां पर इस सरकार अगर संसद की हिफाजत नहीं कर सकती तो इस सरकार से देश की हिफाजत की उम्मीद क्या करें। हमें तो ऐसा लग रहा था कि आज जैसे पुलवामा का रिहर्सल कर रहे थे।
The TMC has called the Lok Sabha security breach an insider job, accusing the BJP of facilitating the attack. The party is also demanding the expulsion of MP Pratap Simha.
Our straight question is that you have expelled Mahua Moitra, national security compromised. What is Lok Sabha going to do, because national security has been compromised?